So what we're going to do is bring up the 3 studios that have been our finalists and kind of introduce those studios to the group, and you can say hi to them. And then we're going to have them come out here and demo their games, okay? So we're going to have them come out and actually show the games, talk about their games, and we'll have some Q&A, okay? So let me get my form here. The game guys, I'll have, let's see here, Crashlands come up, Butterscotch Studio guys. Yeah, Shenanigans, come on up. Battle Chef Brigade, Trinket Studios. Relativity, Willie. The Power of One, yeah. So these guys with 27, 28 studios are, came to Pop Con, and they got judged down on Friday to Saturday to a smaller amount of people, and then on Sunday we picked 3. These are the 3 people through the judges and people that looked and watched and listened to the people and played their games, decided had the best games here at Pop Con. So the Reboot Awards are about supporting the indie developers. People like this, 2 or 3 guys working hard to develop a great game, right, to make it fun and interesting, and also letting people here at PopCon be, hear and listen to these guys talking about it, play their games, have fun with the games, right, and enjoy the games. And then YouTubers and other people hopefully will help promote these guys' games and make them famous, make them be gigantic, monstrous, yeah. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna have, I think we're gonna have. Let's see, who's first? Butterscotch? These guys are up, and I'm going to give the mic to you. You're going to talk about your game about 5 minutes. We're going to rotate, unhook, hook somebody else up, and we're going to go ahead and continue for the 3 kind of game reviews with the people here. Okay? So here we go.
All right, well, we will start with our trailer. We'll get out of the way here. All right, go ahead, hit it.
Rated T for too much sass. Butterscotch Shenanigans. Crashlands. If you like words and reading them, then prepare to experience the story of a lifetime. There's a bad guy, a bunch of quest givers, and you in your purple spacesuit slapping everything with your thumbless hands. Finger painting was never going to be relevant, your mother always told you. Show her she was wrong as you rub your magnificent home into existence with a build mode so convenient you'll have time to give her a call. Crashlands! Defeat local wildlife to acquire their parts for your crafting, and then turn their own parts against them. Sew their skin into armor, grind their bones into weaponry, and turn their babies against their former brethren. Fight, Wobbit! Fight for your new mother's enjoyment! Set it and forget it like an infomercial actor with our oven-like workstations that bake items while you explore. Make a chair, make a lamp, make a stem cell baby you can suck the life out of to replenish your youthful flesh. With over 27 recipes to craft, there's something for everyone. With so many things to carry, you'll spend joyous hours digging through your bags and moving things around. Shut up! No, you won't! Your infinite inventory manages itself. Make bathroom breaks a thing of the past with Crashland's cross-platforminess. Share your save from PC to mobile and take your gaming on the road, or the toilet, or both. We spent ages crafting every last detail of Crashlands to make it the most amazing thing you could possibly experience. So of course, you can just throw all that in the trash to make your own campaigns using the Crashlands creator. It won't hurt our feelings at all. If you want to keep up with Crashlands development, head over to crashlands.net and sign up for a B-Scotch ID. There's perks and stuff.
All right, so this is the entirety of our studio. I'm Sam, this is Adam and Seth. Seth does all the games programming, Adam does the web dev, and I do all the art. Crashlands is a project where we really wanted to take the crafting genre and do a bunch of innovative stuff to it to open it wide up to do other things. And we noticed that there's a lot of stuff in crafting that's just kind of tedious. Like managing your inventory, for example. You're always sorting through bags and always like trying to arrange chests and label them appropriately and not lose things. So we said, what if we just destroy that concept completely? And we did, and it turns out it was freaking awesome. Your inventory is infinite. You don't ever have to lose stuff or worry about chests and these things. You basically just get to play the game as opposed to playing with your UIs. And on top of that, we did other stuff like remove the sort of plotting behavior that usually happens when you want to build something. Most crafting games take a brick-by-brick approach, whereas we take more of like a painting approach. So you enter into a build mode, you rub your finger if you're on mobile, or your cursor if you're on PC, on the screen, and basically paint your base into existence, which is really, really fun. And on top of that, the last thing we wanted to do is fill the sort of narrative gap that exists in crafting games. So most crafting games, they drop you into a world and they're like, good luck, you got your hands. We wanted to take that, take it up a notch and actually do something fun with it, introduce a bunch of ridiculous characters, a ridiculous dialogue, and we've done just that. There's Q, an epic sort of megalomaniac boss, and you playing as Flux, an intergalactic space truck delivery driver, like UPS for the stars. Except Q's made it so that you can't deliver your packages. All you want to do is deliver your packages. You're not trying to be a hero, but if you need to take down an entire, dominating world force to deliver those packages, you will get it done because your pension will get cut by 5%. So this is kind of what we want to do with this game, and we'll be launching in around August. We're going into beta in about 6 weeks. So if you're interested, you can hit up Crashlands. If you've got any questions, I think either way, crashlands.net, feel free.
You guys have any questions for these guys? Whoa.
Whose voice was that? That was yours?
Oh, do I have to go? Do you want me to go? I can go. How long have you guys been in studio for?
Yeah, just don't knock over the water. Just hold the whole tripod.
Wi-Fi mic, yeah.
2.5 years. 3 years in November.
Do you feel that the synergy between you guys has helped the overall process of the game? Just like parts of you as a team?
Yeah, so we're all brothers, if you didn't notice, and because it was weird. And we have very argumentative design style. So Seth will say, let's do this, and I'll say, what if we do it this way? And Adam will say, what if we do it this way? We didn't realize there were 3 points to be made in complete contention to one another until we brought Adam on last year. So basically by solving those arguments, we end up with like a sort of, frankly, a better sort of design at the end of the day. So that's how everything works.
That's awesome.
Is it true that you guys were working on the build on the show floor?
Yeah, so we didn't have a tutorial on Friday, but we do now. So, yeah, we thought it'd be kind of cool if we came out of a game jam. That's how our studio was born. And so we're used to working really fast and doing stuff really speedy. So we just kind of watched how players were interacting with the early stuff in the game, and we just kept, tweaking it until it felt really good. So, yeah.
What sorts of things can you build with your campaign editor?
Oh, yeah.
So the campaign editor is going to be a web-based tool, so you'll use it on your browser. We're actually going to build the entirety of the Crashlands campaign. That everything you'll experience as a player will be built in that same creator that will give players access to. So anything you can experience in the game, this includes scripted boss fights with player communication, player scripted dialogue, and it includes giant bases filled with NPCs that spawn boss fights that change as a consequence of quests, so you can design questing systems and stories and everything else. So it's all of the content we've been describing. It will basically be manipulatable and accessible there, as well as a whole bunch of mutators that'll change the core mechanics of the game. So you can remove drops, or you can remove crafting, or whatever, and actually make something that is just an RPG, or is just an adventure, or whatever. So we're trying to make it a very, very flexible system, so that that whole sandbox component of games that you typically see in crafting becomes something that players can make on their own using Crashlands as an engine.
Where do you see your game going, like, beyond the initial release? Like, how will it grow and thrive in the world?
Well, so we are an indie studio, so we gotta deal with launching the product first on a few platforms before and seeing how it does. But I think a lot of the big stuff that we're really excited about is with the creator being able to grow a really powerful community and actually adding more creator tools down the line. There are sort of wish list items, of course, things like multiplayer, for example, which would be awesome, but extremely hard to do. So we're going to wait on that until after launch. But I think really the goal for us is to build up a really, really fun community around this, and then eventually be able to do things like multiplayer or console.
Cool.
I was about to ask about console, but you already answered that, so thank you.
Thanks, guys. Butterscotch shenanigans. Woo, woo. Okay. We're going to have relativity come up. The power of one come up. Now, Willie, how do you say your last name? Cheer. Okay, cheer up. Willie, cheer up of relativity. And give him 1 second here. We're going to hook up his laptop, and he's going to do a guy's going to do a live demo. He's going to talk on the mic about his game, and then we're going to do some Q&A.
Sure. Is it possible to turn down the volume?
Can they turn down the volume of the game a little bit?
Okay, cool. So yeah, my name's Willie Cheer. This is Relativity. So Ben has kindly enough volunteered to drive the game. So we're just going to kind of play through this, and I'll talk about the mechanic and what's going on. So basically, when you walk up to a wall, you hit a button, and that you can actually make that wall the floor. It's sort of I bring up the example of Inception. There's that scene where they fold Paris in half and then start walking up the wall. This is basically taking that mechanic and running with it. So you can see right now you're in the yellow gravity, and you're kind of navigating these tunnels that go up and down. And when you're in yellow, you can only interact with yellow objects. So here I've pressed the switch down, and so this next room, it needs a red switch. So you need to switch onto the red gravity field in order to interact with that. So here we're just kind of teaching the player that you can use buttons to open doors. And then here I'm showing that you can use cubes, you can place them on squares to open doors as well. So this is just kind of showing these basic puzzle mechanics. Now what's interesting here is you've opened that door, now you switch to the wall, and on the other side you use a blue cube to open this door with the blue square. So this is all like very, very simple stuff at the moment, and I'll show you guys how it gets more complicated in a bit. So I've been working on this game for about 2.5 years now, just a little over 2.5 years. It started in November 2012 as a project to learn Unity, and then it just, I thought I would be done in 3 months, and I guess now I'm looking at closer to 3.5 years. So in this puzzle, we have 2 squares that need to be lit up in order to open the door. So the purple one is really easy. If we go to that one, all we need to do is bring the purple block down. So that's pretty simple. Now, it's also really hard to give directions in this game, because now what we need to do is go to the ceiling where the orange block is. Except it's not the ceiling anymore, it's the wall, and now it's the floor. And now instead of bringing the orange block down, you have to bring it up. So the thing is, you can't switch gravities while you're carrying a box. So what you need to do is place the orange block on top of the platform, switch into blue, and then turn around back to orange, and now lift it up again. And in the next puzzle, that's going to show you how this core mechanic really starts to get interesting. So every time you put a box on a square, that actually starts a sound loop. And so different rooms have different combinations of squares, and that leads to a different soundscape in each room when the puzzle is completed. So this is the puzzle where you start to see how 2 gravities can start to create some interesting interaction. So here we want the purple block to touch the purple square in order to open the door. But as soon as you let go of the purple block, it's just going to slide down. So but what we can do in this world is we can switch onto the blue gravity field, and the blue box is not affected by purple gravity, so we can place the blue box next to the purple square. And then when we switch back to purple gravity, the blue box is now serving as a shelf on top of which the purple block can rest on. This is sort of the fundamental building blocks of puzzles, and it gets you thinking. It's like starting to think with relativity. This next one is going to build up on that, and then we're going to go outside, which is where the main part of the game takes place. So this one's very simple. It's similar. We want to get the red block up this platform, but it is way too high for us to reach. So instead what we can do, as you try to reach it, it's too high. So instead what we can do is switch into the green gravity field and use the same concept we learned in the last puzzle, and use it as a shelf. So what we do is we place it right in the middle of the platform, rotate back to red, and now we can place the red box on top of the green box, using the green box as a shelf to hold it up. And now what we do is we can switch to the top of the platform because it's actually facing the same way as the floor, so it's also red, and then you can simply reach over and then pick up the box and bring it up. Okay, this is just a tutorial that shows you how to navigate in this world. It shows you some basic rules. And now this is where things start to get crazy. So what you'll learn is that these boxes are not just sort of, so to talk about the narrative of the game, there are no extrinsic goals, everything's intrinsic, but you start to learn that there's a narrative with the mechanics. So for example, these boxes are actually fruit that grow on trees. And this becomes an important mechanic later because water is introduced, and you can combine water and cubes to grow trees, which give you more cubes. So there's another cube we can pick up. All right, now we are outside. And we can leave the box here. And then I want to show you, so we can take a look around at this world. And everything you see in the world, you can get to. And the world opens up at this point and becomes very linear. And oftentimes people ask, like, what happens? We can start walking up that tower. We can rotate, and a lot of times people ask, like, what happens if you fall off the world? And so let's just see that. So instead of killing the player, there's actually the geometry of the world wraps around, so you can land back exactly where you fell off from, and it's all completely seamless transition. So let's try to land back on the tower this time. Okay, and then if you turn around, I want to show you, so one thing that's really important from a development standpoint is that all the mechanics are systematic and work together. And I'm going to show you an example. So you saw how the player wraps around. That also affects boxes. So what we're going to do is we're going to just take this box and we're going to drop it off the edge here. We'll let go. And because the world wraps around, we should actually see this box come down from above. So this box is actually now trapped in an endless cycle because the geometry wraps around, and you can pick it up later as well. So I want to just skip ahead to some crazy worlds. Using this world, we can play with infinity. So World 15, this is a level that's inspired by Indian stepwells. I saw the pattern and I was like, well, what if this just continued on forever? So in this level, you can keep going down forever. Let's take a look up, just because I wanted players to experience what infinity is like. And we can rotate onto the side of the stairs and jump off and experience infinity from a whole other direction. Another one I want to show you guys very quickly is, we'll just jump to one, so World 18. This is a world we just, based on a single pattern, you can see this H-shaped tile. And again, it's like, what happens if we take the single tile and make it infinite? So I think Ben is now just gonna kind of, okay, so you can still rotate, and now you can walk along on this plane. This is what it looks like from above. And if you jump off, again, you can see how infinity just changes the way we perceive space. I used to be an installation artist, so working with space is something I'm very interested in. I'm gonna show you one last world, and then I'll wrap up. Let's go to World 21. So this debug menu is just, it's a debug menu right now for me to skip between worlds. This is based on a fractal. You can see that there's a cube in the middle and then smaller cubes half its size in the corner. And in this world, this is sort of like a much later advanced puzzle that drops you in the middle of a giant space and lets you interact with it. So the puzzles involve having to figure out the overworld geometry as well as understanding kind of the rotation mechanics as well, and then using all those to your advantage and tying everything together. Yeah, so that's the game.
Sorry, I'm still like processing. Are we going to be seeing other types of objects kind of determine the platforming capabilities of the game?
Yeah, so one of the things that's going to happen is that we have cubes that fall into two gravities. So there's a blue cube and a red cube. They are also, so you can also change colors. As well, water is going to be a very big mechanic. So in this world, there's no such thing as a waterfall, because if the water falls off an edge, it's also going to come back down from above. So instead of waterfalls, there are actually water loops. And the rule is that a blue object is active only when you're in the blue gravity field. So that means when you're in any of the other color gravities, that blue box is frozen. So what happens to water? So you have blue water falling this way, you have red water falling that way, green water falling this way. So what happens to blue water when you switch to another gravity? Well, it actually freezes. So it becomes a bridge that you can then walk on when you're in another gravity field. And the boxes actually let you redirect streams of water and allow you to create paths to new places. There are also giant, like tetromino shape that you cannot, you can't pick them up, but that they fall according to gravity. So I have a level where the entire world just falls, that like restructures itself every time you change gravity. And there's still more, but I don't want to spoil too much of the game.
Thank you.
Have you done any testing with colorblind people yet?
Yes. So some of the visuals, like having the arrows on the box point to which direction it is, that was introduced actually halfway through development. Prior to that, it just relied on colors. And one of the things so that actually can help you figure out exactly which way you need to go. And the other thing is, everything relies on shaders. So I'm planning on having one that allows you to map colors to, there's 6 colors that you're using in the game in addition to white, and you can map those 6 to any colors you want to distinguish them from each other.
All right. So how much longer would you say you're going to be in development?
I am aiming for just a little under a year. Basically the past 2.5 years were spent figuring out what the design of the game is. And now I know what that is. I've brought on 2 programmers recently to help with optimization and also to refactor the systems. So I'm hoping to have all the tech done by the end of this month and then finish designing the game by the end of summer. But the reason why it won't be released till next year is because it just needs a lot of testing to kind of iterate and refine everything. Yeah.
And what platforms are you aiming for?
I'm aiming for a PC and PS4 at launch.
Cool. Thank you.
I posed the same question to you. Are you planning to release just one big, this is it, this is my whole thing right here, title, or are you planning to expand upon it later on, or what are your thoughts on where this goes ultimately?
Right now I'm leaning towards having that one giant thing at once, and the problem is that, the issue is, what I want to do from a design standpoint is that actually every puzzle we just saw is actually 2 puzzles. 2 or 3 actually, so there are these meta puzzles hidden in plain sight, because if you remember, there's the puzzle where I used a blue cube as a shelf to hold up the purple cube. So that blue cube, later on, you can actually take another mechanic and go back into that same room and sneak the blue cube out and do something else with it. And same thing with the room that had, you used a green box to bring a red box up. So if you imagine, if you learn a technique later on, what you can do is come back in and sneak that green cube out, and then you can use that to skip whole sections. But that's sort of in the kind of subsequent playthroughs of the game. And so in order for that design to work, like every world needs to be designed with consideration of every other world. I can't just tack stuff on.
Right.
So everything has to come together as one giant package.
That's cool. So it'll be like a complete piece, like art.
Right, because it's puzzles hidden inside puzzles, hidden inside puzzles that are part of other puzzles. So that all needs to come in together as a single package.
That's deep.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. The Trinket Studio guys coming up, and they're going to switch their computer out real quick here. Their Battle Chef game is going to be pretty cool. So you're going to run a demo, a loop?
Yeah.
Loop? Okay. Step up here.
Hey everybody. Eric, our artist, is going to be playing the game while I talk to you about it. It looks like... Cool. So this is Battle Chef Brigade. It's sort of, we describe it as fantasy Iron Chef. Basically mashed up all the Food Network shows we love with fantasy and then added hunting. So it's this wild mix where you play as orc, elf, and human chefs. You run out into the forest, collect ingredients from monsters, bring them back to the kitchen to make delicious dishes for the judges. So Eric is going to be running through a kind of typical challenge between our main character Mina here on the left and another chef, in this case Shiv, who's an orc. And so you can see there was some of that sort of Iron Chef presentation. We have a Iron Chef-like judge or chairman. So Eric is starting out by running out and he's going to collect some ingredients. In this case, we got these little squid guys. And so as you see, they break up into their delicious ingredients. And he's got a whole bunch of different abilities. For the demo, we kind of just threw everything in here, but in the real game, it's sort of at least RPG light, where there's a progression of mechanics that you learn and improve on. So here in the forest, this is one of the 4 biomes. We're making there's the forest, the skylands, the jungle, and the caverns. And here in the forest, there's sort of ecosystem where these little birds, like that little guy, they will steal your ingredients if you don't pick them up, and they'll fly away and eat them. Oh, we saw one steal one over there. And they'll land, eat it, and then lay an egg. So that's how you can kind of influence that to happen by killing things, leave ingredients on the ground. They'll eat those, and you can harvest the eggs or let them hatch to get more steel birds if you wanted a whole bunch of like chicken-like ingredients for your dishes. There's also a dragon here. We have the required ingredient mechanic similar to Iron Chef. So he's got to get some dragon, so we'll see if he can. The dragon's pretty tough, but we toned him down for the demo, so hopefully Eric is good enough. Nice. So there's this whole blend of both hunting and cooking. We'll see if a new genre called the hunt and cook sticks. But so he's got his whole pantry here, and he's got a pot and a pan. Each container in our game works in a different way, and we'll see that real shortly. So right now he's just adding ingredients, kind of like Tetris or something, where you're building a little structure, and he has a ton of delicious red ingredients in this case, and the red and blue there and the green you'll see as well each represent a different taste. Right now we pared it down to 3 for the demo, but we also have all sorts of other mechanics involved, and as in this case he's stirring those tastes to produce better tastes. And then he produced a super good dish because he knows how to play the game extremely well. And so it's like we've got a recipe system, and he made a pretty awesome one. So you can see in the pot, it was a stirring mechanic that rotated the taste gems. But here in the pan, there's a totally, well not totally, but you manipulate the gems in a different way.
And those differences matter a lot outside of the demo when there are other things inside your grid, like poison and bone and mold and taste that break apart when they're manipulated. And so as you progress, you gain different containers, different spells that manipulate things both in the forest and in your dishes. So yeah, we're trying to blend a whole bunch of mechanics and see if they work. Our inspiration was really, we were super weary, super burnt out on coming up with good ideas for our next game, and we turned on the Food Network, and we're like, man, cooking games are all very standard. They don't have a lot of creativity, and they don't let you just make crazy stuff. Like on a show like Iron Chef, they'll have like fish ice cream. And you're not going to make that in Cooking Mama. So we wanted to try to tackle cooking in a new way, and I think we made something that is like that, like what we set out to do. So you both, and then at the end of a round, so rounds are timed just like a show like Chopped, and so Eric has served his dish, and then it will be judged by the judge. In the demo, the judge is very friendly, and she just loves fire, so it's good that Eric gave her lots of fire. And so each of their preferences you can match or really anger them. So he made 199 points, and he made a good dish, and then she awarded him more points because she loved the fire in it. And then we'll see what our super easy level AI made a 22-point dish. So the judges have all sorts of, they have their preferences and their dislikes, and then they'll comment similar to judges on just about every Food Network show ever. And then we'll see that, yes indeed, 199 is better than 22, and Eric has won.
I don't want to go first. Someone else can go.
All right. So, go ahead. Okay. Do you guys have any plans for any multiplayer element?
Yeah, when we started, the game was split screen, and we were like, we'll have everything we've always wanted to make in a game because we grew up with those sorts of games. And at some point in the last 2 years, we realized that we were only 3 people. We have trouble counting apparently, and that we should focus on single player first, then multiplayer after that. But it is something that we certainly want to do because it's really cool cooking with someone or against someone.
So are you trying to get that in for the initial release, or is
it? Yeah, the initial release will be 4 playable characters in a big overarching campaign. After that, we'll see.
Okay, thank you.
So basically, you'll have an initial release and then some different stuff going on after that, right?
Yeah. So one of the things we spent really the last year and a half was building cooking systems as well as building this world. So we have a ton of characters. Eric is a character concept artist, is one of his main talents, and so we have a whole bunch of cool chefs that we really want to make playable. We're going to start with 4, and then new characters and environments with their own monsters, and then every holiday has to do with food, so it'll be really cool to have holiday packs, like the Thanksgiving stuff, or 4th of July hot dog pack, you know, all the good stuff.
In terms of boss battles, it seems that you guys have kind of painted this image of having diverse enemies for the hunt, but when I was playing the game, I kind of felt that you guys were aiming towards building a larger entity for some kind of insane meal. What kind of, what's the inspiration behind that? Because I feel like it's almost like cooking Shadow of the Colossus almost, where you're getting to that point of conquering the big meal.
We've been all over the map and trying to figure out exactly how hunting should feel. We don't want it to just be like run left to right, killing everything like a brawler. We also don't want it to be like it's just you and this dragon in a standoff for 5 minutes, because we want the cooking to be really important and mix those together. So we're thinking that like a lot of things that you're just hunting them and they're not too tough, because you have knives and spells and they don't. But then some required ingredients like the dragon will be larger battles where you need to focus on making sure you get that, and then everything else are like your garnishes for your dish.
How are you planning your single player campaign to work?
So we're going to have 4 playable characters, but it's going to be 1 canon campaign. The idea is that this is sort of the Battleship Brigade. It is the way these characters get into a tournament, or they get into the Battleship Brigade through this tournament where they have elimination matches against these other chefs. And so you're going to be able to play as Mina in particular, as the main character through all of her matches, but also some of the other characters on the different days of the tournament.
When are you hoping to release, and what platforms are you going to be on?
Yeah, we're planning on releasing about a year from now in 2016, and then starting with Steam, PC, Mac, Linux, and Humble Store, and then moving to consoles. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Guys, thanks a lot. I'm hungry now. We're going to let the judges a few seconds here. We're going to someone of who the person will be. You ready to go? So we're going to announce going third first, yes. Third, second, first.
Yes.
Okay? So let's do this thing.
All right. So after much deliberation and important talk, yes, closer mics. Yeah, thank you, thank you. So after much deliberation, in third place, we decided to pick Crashlands.
The smaller board. Is that okay, guys? And stay right here, and we're going to do the next one and keep going forward. Okay? Woo!
Good job, guys.
Congratulations, Butterscotch Shenanigans.
I knew I was going to murder that, so I didn't want to try.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
Okay, go ahead.
Now, we had a lot of tough decisions to make because these are all just excellent games. Coming in second place, I want to congratulate Willie Cheer with Relativity.
Willie! Thanks.
All right. Well, in first place is Battleship Brigade.
Video Game Palooza is going to present the check. Giant check. Like that. So this is the first annual Indy Reboot Awards, and we have our first winner. Everyone got a big hand in for the guys who were chefing. And then if ever you guys get up here, we're going to get everybody shot together, so go ahead and get everybody lined up. Yeah, everyone up here, yeah, that'd be great.